Psalm 127:1. Unless the Lord builds the house, the builders labor in vain. Unless God watches over the city, the watchman stays awake in vain. You can stay up all night and it won't do any good. And when this nation was formed by our founding fathers, they had this sense that God was in the details. God, in his overarching providential care, was taking care of this nation. Not all of our founding fathers had a belief in Jesus Christ, but most of them had a foundational faith in God. And so their very predisposition was including God in the affairs of this land. We've gotten away from God. We have a mess on our hands. We want nothing to do with God unless we are in a crisis situation. And so, unless God watches over a city, those who watch in vain. I think back to the times that I traveled back in the Washington, D.C. area. I took 30-some people 20-some years ago back and toured that whole area on an American Heritage tour. Took them to Plymouth Plantation and saw how the Pilgrims got their start. The whole formation of the government was such an intriguing thing to me. But let me share a thought with you from one of our founding fathers, Benjamin Franklin. Benjamin Franklin, on June 28, 1787, before the Continental Congress, he said this. He was 81 years old when he spoke. "I have lived, sir, a long time, and the longer I live, the more convincing proofs I see of this truth, that God governs in the affairs of men. And if a sparrow cannot fall to the ground without his notice, is it probable that an empire can rise without his aid? We have been assured, sir, in the sacred writings, that except the Lord builds the house, they in vain labor who build it." I firmly believe this, and I also believe that without his concurring aid, we shall succeed in this political building no better than the builders of Babel. I think unless we go back to those founding fathers and understand our history, unless we awaken to the challenge that is yet before us, unless we call upon Almighty God to watch over this house, this United States, then we are choosing a course that says that we are capable of directing our own thoughts, our own government, without the aid of God. And I believe Psalm 127 is right. Unless the Lord builds a house, they that labor in vain.